All right, what's up, everybody? It's Nick Atkin on South China Morning Post, SCMP MMA. This is the post-fight podcast. For once, we're actually doing it post-fight. It is an actual post-fight podcast. I'm here to break down that dramatic one championship bad blood card, which just finished about an hour or so ago, maybe a little bit less, can't remember. But I've just finished also the post-fight interviews with Anatoly Malykhin. Also spoke to Lin Chin, Dustin Johnson, and Jonathan Haggerty. Some great interviews, which will, of course, be coming to the channel in due time at some point, maybe in a few hours. After we finish this podcast, I'll start sorting those out. But I'm here because we didn't do a fight companion. Very sorry, guys. Just had to jump on the SCMP.com's Winter Olympics live blog today, so I wasn't able to do a fight companion. I think that's the first one we've missed since we started doing this. I mean, we even had them, when I was in the hospital once for some searing pain I had. And another time during the Olympics, the Summer Olympics, we still had it. So I'm very sad the record run came to an end. We didn't have a fight companion, but I thought it'd be cool to still do a recap here and some reaction. I'm going to be joined by Tom Taylor from SCMP MMA as well. He's just getting himself a bagel. He deserves it. He's been up since about 6 a.m. doing some reports, which you can read, of course, on scmp.com/MMA, all about one championship bad blood. He's got all the stuff you need to know. Anatoly Malykhin is your new interim heavyweight MMA champion. That's the main takeaway. That is the thumbnail, of course, on this video, but plenty of other drama going on, which we will get into as well. Nguyen, she seemed to hint she might be retiring after another loss. We'll get into all that. There was some controversy with Mei Yamaguchi losing against Jihin Rajuan, where a lot of people thought Mei Yamaguchi actually won that. She's commented on that on Twitter. We'll get into that. We'll talk about all the bonuses. Double bonus, of course, for Anatoly Malykhin. He walks away with $100,000, and he's obviously set up a big money fight with Arjun Bhullar to become the undisputed heavyweight champ. We'll get into all of that. Anyone who wants to interact, please leave some comments, questions in the chat here. See, I've got a couple from Brian Lucero saying another bad decision between Jihin and Mei. Yeah, I agree with you there completely. Also saying what is happening with the judges of one. They are always having bad decisions. So sad for Mei Yamaguchi. I'm very sad for Mei as well. I love Mei and I love Jihin. I love both of them. Two great fighters. I do think Mei won. But it was very close, very, very close. And Mei posted on Twitter. I'll try and bring it up on screen. Let's get into it. But I think Mei is taking comfort from the fact she's getting so many messages from people saying that they think she won the fight. So we'll have a quick look at it here. I'm going to share it on the screen now. This is Mei Yamaguchi's tweet. She says, "I'm really confused, but so many people, including coaches and fighters around the world, are giving me messages saying Mei won the fight. These words are supporting my heart now." Yep, she also tweeted in Japanese. I can get a rough translation of it, I think. There it is. Straight after the fight, pretty much, when she went to the back, she jumped on her phone, and this is a loose translation because it's from Google, so not verbatim, but she says, "Thank you for encouragement. I thought I won completely. Where was the other party's valid points?" I think you're saying, where did Jihin get the decision from? Yeah, very controversial. It comes on the back of a series of controversial decisions in one championship in recent months. We had the big one, Denise Zambawanga and Ham Sohi, which split decision for Ham, went to review upheld the result for Ham. And then we had Christian Lee against Oak Rayun, unanimous decision for Oak, went to review upheld for Oak. And then we had last month, we had Supergirl and Katarina Vandrieva, split decision for Supergirl, which was baffling. And instead of review, Chatri just ordered an immediate rematch because he revealed that there are no longer any reviews in one. They have binned off that whole thing, no longer doing fight reviews. So I don't know if this one is controversial enough, let's say, to warrant a immediate rematch. What do you think? Let us know in the chat. Power Pickle saying one just needs to, hire some new judges. It does seem to be happening with regularity, getting these decisions. I mean, I do feel sympathy for judges. I know it's not an easy job to do that. As Brian's saying, first Denise versus Ham, Lee versus Oak. Last one was Barbie and one Miguel, Supergirl. They're adding. Sorry. What is happening with the judges precisely? Yeah, I don't know if it's down to the judges. I thought the all the MMA ones are close, and I wouldn't say they're robberies. The Supergirl one, on the other hand, was an absolute terrible decision. The Muay Thai, and Chatri said himself that he knows Muay Thai, and I think it's more worrying when you see robberies go down in MMA or in Muay Thai, things like that. I don't think any of these MMA ones we could say are robberies. Anyway, here's Andy Whitelaw, who's just finished as well hosting the post-fight interviews. Got another great job from Andy Whitelaw. Harsh, but not a robbery in my opinion, he says. Enjoyed the leg kicks. Yeah. I think it's harsh to call it a robbery. I agree with you. That's my main takeaway from it all. But I don't know. Is it strong enough? Yeah, like I'm saying, strong enough to warrant an immediate rematch. I don't know. That is a tough one. I think for Jihin, would you want to do that fight again? I think she'll be wanting to move up now, maybe have a crack at someone in the top 5. That's back-to-back wins for her now. I think over Nguyen and now Mei Yamaguchi. So I think she'll want to move on, maybe see if she can't take out someone else above her and get into that top 5. Power Pickle saying, I think Ham won that fight. Yeah, I agreed that Ham won it, and I agreed that Oak won their fight. So I can see why some people might think the other way, but I don't think it was so controversial that we needed to rip it all up. Andy's saying, keen to see what's next for Jihin, 23. She's a talent. I didn't know she's so young, actually, Mr. Whitelaw. I do remember watching her fight in Malaysia the last time I was at a One Championship card live. Didn't realize it at the time it would be my last card live for over 2 years, but here we are. More on that in a minute. But yes, I watched Jihin lose then. I'm trying to remember who she lost to. I'm going to bring up the topology. My memory is a little skewed from that card, guys, because I got hit full on in the face with a T-shirt from the T-shirt gun fired by one of the One Championship ring girls. I don't know how that happened, but it hit me square in the face, knocked my glasses flying 3 rows. I think you were there, Andy. Maybe you were the one who found my glasses for me. But a funny episode nonetheless. Jihin, who was she fighting? Yeah, that was the oh god, Denise Sambuanga. Yeah, that's it. It was Denise, wasn't it? Or was that when she beat 2019 December? There you go. Yeah, that was it. I think that's it. I think I watched her lose to Denise. Yeah, that's when Denise went on that run and just marked herself out as the number 1 contender. She then went on to beat Mei Yamaguchi, of course. So a lot of these fighters are now facing each other, and we're seeing so much depth in this division. Anyone could really make a run for the top 5, make a run for the title. It's great to see. Couple more messages here. Tom Taylor is gonna join us soon. Chris saying, what a night of fights. It was, Chris. It was. I'm sad that I wasn't there to do a fight companion with you. I'm sorry. But hopefully you've got some questions for me here. Chris thinks May won and was cheated. Strong words from Chris, my sometimes co-host on the post-fight podcast. So let's hear what you have to say, Chris. Come on, put it in the chat. May versus Jihin. I don't know, says Power Pickle. I'm biased when it comes to Jihin, fan of her. Yeah, I like Jihin as well. I like May. It's tough to say one way or the other. I enjoy both of them. I love interviewing both of them. Looking at these questions here, try and get through them all. Brian Lucera saying, I have a question. What did Jihin do that made her win this fight? I don't know, Brian. I thought May won. I agree entirely with what Chris said on Twitter. I'm going to try and bring up Chris's tweet he sent to May Yamaguchi. He replied to her, and I 100% agreed with him. He wrote, great performance, had you winning, more damage done, better combinations, superior position and combinations. Great heart from both fighters. Don't let the result get you down. Yes, I 100% agreed with Chris' assessment there. Andy says, my friend Miguel was sat next to me watching. He thought Jihin won. And there you go. It's not as controversial as some of these other things, especially the Supergirl fight. We cannot pretend it is a robbery as such. Sorry, more questions here. I'm trying to get through them all. Andy's got one about Lin Hei Chin. I'll try and get to, and Anatoly. Tom Taylor will be joining in a minute as well. Andy's saying Malaysian MMA badly needs a star right now. Jihin has it in her locker. Don't disagree with you. It's huge for Malaysian MMA. Andy used to live there as well, I do believe. And yeah, they needed something like that for a while. Obviously, the alligator Agalantani has not been doing fantastically as of late. So good for Malaysian MMA. Let's see if Jihin can get into top 5. I was surprised she wasn't in the Atomweight Grand Prix in the first place. I think she deserved it, and I think she was slated for an alternate bout, if I remember correctly, and then the fight fell through, so she didn't even get the chance to fight. Or maybe she did. Was it the fight with B Nguyen was an alternate bout? I can't remember. It's all been a little bit confusing. Sorry if I've missed any of your questions. I'll try and get to them. A lot of comments coming in. Here's Andy saying, given the luck we've been having with dropouts, COVID, could we end up seeing Brooks versus Haggerty mixed rules? I don't know, Andy. What if you want to come on the show and make the case for that? I can send you a link right now. Just let me know. Otherwise, if Haggerty's going to get into this mixed rules thing, I want to see him go against Adriano Moraes. You know what I mean? Let's have the guy who lost to Rod Tang. Oh, Tom's just jumped in. I jumped there. Here he is. Oh, there he is. Tom Taylor. What's up, Tom? You've had a very busy morning. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, as always. Yeah, busy morning, but a great morning of fights. Lots to unpack.
Yes. Have you enjoyed? Do you have a bagel? I think you had. How was it?
I did have a bagel. It was reasonably satisfying. It was not the best bagel
Reasonably.
I've ever had, but it did the trick.
I guess you were under time constraints. Knowing that this excellent podcast was
Exactly,
afoot, you
man.
had to just rush and get that bagel
Exactly.
done. So not the best preparation, I guess.
Bagels come
Oh,
second, man.
all right. I think Andy Whitelaw's coming in.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
send him the link. One sec. I thought he's too much of a big shot now to do these shows. Given he's the one championship MC
I
for
know.
post fights, pre-fight interviews.
Gracing us with his presence.
Yeah,
What a guy.
exactly. What a guy. All right, there's a lot of comments. I'm trying to go back and get some. What did you think, though, Tom? We've just started off with May and the Jihin May debate. Where did you land on that one?
Yeah, so I mean, I confess that because I was filing stories at that time, I wasn't giving the fight my full attention, but I did have it on right in front of me on the big screen, and I was glancing up pretty often. And by the time it was over, granted, again, like having not watched it super committedly, I thought it was pretty obvious that May had won. Like, I was expecting her to win a decision. So when she didn't, I was surprised, but I figured I had just missed something. But clearly, other people saw the same thing, thought the same thing.
Conference chicanery here, saying the Yamaguchi decision is outrageous. Shadowcat did well for herself, but there is no realistic case to be made for her to get a W. Wow, going in there. Do you can see why some people are so upset, Tom? I mean, I said it was tight. It wasn't ridiculous. It
Yeah,
wasn't a robbery.
yeah. That was the impression I got too. It seemed like a close fight that May did more into me. Seemed like she should have won, but this is what happens. Unfortunately, it seems like this happens every week, doesn't it?
We always seem to have one. Yeah, conference chicanery adding VV scored the significant takedowns and strikes. She pushed the pace and was the pressure fighter. VV did rock Jihin multiple times and never gassed. Shadowcat landed leg kicks and sub attempts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up for debate. It's definitely up for debate. I'm just seeing if Andy got the right link. There it is. There it is. He'll be joining us in a minute. Chris is saying, I would love to know Tom's opinion on Dustin Johnson. Dustin got his first win in one, obviously. Lost the first fight he had to Kirill Grishenko, who went on to fight for the heavyweight interim title tonight and lost. There he is. Wow, looking sharp.
Good to see you. Right, got to centralize.
There he is.
Hello, guys. I missed you.
Yeah.
We missed you too.
Too busy being a big shot now, huh?
Well, coming from the main men of Asian MMA, that's a big compliment.
Well, I don't see James Goyder here, you know, so that is.
I did shout out his tweet that it's always fun because I'm a much less handsome version of John Haggerty, apparently, because we're both from Kent. So I've heard that a couple of times.
Oh, and, you guys were brothers.
Goyder's tweet saying that a guy from Kent who's exclusively trained in Kent smashing out a Lumpini champion, I thought was quite cool. And it's not the first time either.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was Goyder's tweet, was it? Because you referenced that. You asked Jonathan about it. Okay. Well, then, why don't we get your opinion quickly before we move on from the Yamaguchi May debate? You spoke a little in the comments, Mr. Whitelaw, but say it now. What's your take on that fight?
Oh, Yamaguchi Jihin?
Yeah, sorry. Did I?
To be honest, yeah, it's always interesting when you watch the fights with a friend. We were AKA Thailand actually doing a bit of Muay Thai together. Almost died, and so we're very much in the zone today, talking about striking. And May, you just saw the experience there, but I did think Jihin looked quite smooth. She looked light on her feet. Like, she did throw some good strikes. She managed the distance well, but it looked like a much more experienced fighter in May Yamaguchi, and I just thought she looked really dominant, like when she was in top position. But in the first round, I loved the leg kicks, and I thought we were going to see a little bit more of that, and I think maybe the judges were enamored with that. I don't think it was a robbery. I gave it to May. I mean, it's always fun when you're just discussing it with someone next to you, saying, "Oh, who do you think won?" I said, "I think May's got this." As someone who grew up in Malaysia, I wanted Jihin to win in a kind of a biased way, and the commentators both thought that May won. But then out of nowhere, it's just not a robbery. That's the sport. I don't think it deserves a rematch. May can go home feeling a little bit unlucky, but I think the all-round game of Jihin, she did show a lot. Should and could have shown more, but I think we move on from that, unless you're May Yamaguchi's mum, and let's not cry about it too much, and let's move on. These things happen. I'm sure May's had some lucky decisions in her career as well, so not a robbery, bit harsh.
Neither of them came into the chat either, Andrew, with you with the interview. Is there any reason, or they just weren't scheduled to?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't think there was a plan to have them, but I would have, especially given how the fight went down. I think there's certain fighters that are really worth pushing, and like I mentioned, 23 years old. I think it's remarkable, Jihin Radzwan, like she has it all. I think if you look at her progression, not just the way she fights, but the way she speaks in interviews. Nick, Tom, I'm sure you've been interviewing her since she was literally a teenager, and the way she's evolved, and when you speak to her about her love of the game, like she's a big fan of the Danaher Death Squad, and she talks about wanting to pull out some crazy leg locks. And as we all love the sport, right? But hearing her talk like that and wanting her to pull stuff out like that really intrigues me. But the thing is, she's so humble. She'll never come out and say, I could beat this person, I could beat that person. But to be honest with you, as journalists, I wouldn't mind a bit more of that. I wouldn't mind a bit more bravado. Like, she'll never call anyone out. But this is her time now. She's beaten a title contender. May Yamaguchi's an Asian MMA icon. I would like to see whoever looks after Jihin say, open up, start making those call outs. You're a big talent. You are the next star of Malaysian MMA, and Malaysia needs you. She's massively patriotic, so let's go for it now.
That's really well said. She is sort of like seems like the like she would be the next big star for that country at the moment. Eh? There's not really anyone else that seems like they have a brighter future than her at this particular moment. Like she could be the one. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'd love to see her open up a little bit more. She's great on social media. I love like the videos she posts from the gym where she'll be like hanging out with a cat in the gym or something. And like she clearly has a fun personality. It would be nice to see more of it.
Yeah, she's got everything that she needs in her locker to be a big star. So I think Matt Hume or whoever else, I really would love to see them think hard. I mean, Tom, who do you want to see her fight next?
Jin? That's tough, man. Off the top of my head, there's a lot of really good options. I'm trying to think somebody like maybe right outside the top 5.
One of the losers from the Grand Prix, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I know Lin He-Chin was. How was Mitch pronouncing her name? I'm married to a half Hong Kong Chinese woman, but Mitch was saying like something different. I say Lin He-Chin, but is that correct?
I think he was saying Lin He-Chin as well.
No, I think he was saying something different. Anyway, I know that she was talking about title shots and Tiffany Teo, but for me, it's not the worst matchup in the world. Like Lin, I expected to be a title contender. I still think she will. In maybe 2 or 3 years' time, why not Ji-Hin? You know, with a couple of good results, she's got to get active now. She's, you know, it's such a shame for her to miss a year. She has to be active. I want to see her fight 2-3 times this year more. But Lin He-Chin versus Ji-Hin, 2 winners on this card, didn't take much damage. That would be a nice fight.
Yeah, it's always nice when they're on the same schedule too, right? I mean, like they could conceivably fight in 3 months if they're both healthy. But speaking of fighters with personalities, I mean, Lynn kind of seems like she does too. You know, she had a little, just like the faintest little bit of trash talk in that fight with B, a little bit of kind of bravado on the call with you ahead of time, Andrew. You know, it's just she seems like she's right on the cusp of kind of punching through too and really, you know, catching on with fans herself. So I'd like to see more from her too.
I definitely picked up on that. I think that's huge. And I think it's important that, you know, the journalists, the promotion and the fans nurture that as well, because it's funny because sometimes we're used to the Western promotions, right? And I think the American audiences are so much more receptive to fighters who speak English. If you look at Khabib, when he learned English and he did that famous post fight where, you know, I want to fight your chicken. He blew up and that became a piece of MMA history. And there's this big impetus put on learning English for fighters. But actually, if you look at it, in the, you know, in recent pre-fights, some of the fighters who don't speak any English at all have been so much more interesting at promoting the fight. I mean, look at the Fighting God and Tang Kai. That was by far the most interesting pre-fight. Such a shame that the fight fell through. Look at Mung Bo. You know, the fighters who don't speak English actually have been delivering the best fight promotion in the last few weeks. Do you guys agree? I don't know.
Yeah, I would say so. And just like expanding on the Khabib comment, I mean, Anatoly did some of that tonight with his, you know, comments to Arjun Bhullar. I mean, it's nice to see these people sometimes making the effort. You know, it's like I just love to see guys go for it. You know, he could have gone through the translator, but he figured he'd try to do it in the language that Arjun speaks. You know, it's I feel like that was a star-making performance for him too. Tonight was like, I feel like it was kind of a breakthrough night for a couple of people tonight. It was this was a good one.
Dude, Anatoly has to be a star now. Like, it's so important, I think, to capitalize on this moment for him. Fight fans love heavyweights. Casual fans love guys who just knock people out, right? And he has everything, and he's good at wrestling as well. He's training at Tiger. I wanted to ask him a little bit more about the Muay Thai there, because you remember when Rogan went nuts about Khalil Roundtree? He was going up. He fought Eric Anders, and Rogan was going wild. He was like, he's training at Tiger. He has Muay Thai now. He's going to be unstoppable. And then it didn't really quite work out for him beyond that. But when a guy who has amazing wrestling, amazing hands, trains at somewhere like Tiger or just goes to Thailand in general, you're training with the best Muay Thai coaches in the world. That's why when we saw Hamzat's gone to Tiger, I was like, oh my word. Like, that just puts everybody on notice, because the guy with the most scary wrestling and arguably in the UFC adds Muay Thai like to an elite level to his game. So yeah, I'm very excited about the whole Tiger thing. I'm very excited about Anatoly. I love the way that he capitalizes on those moments on the mic. I just think he is a born star, and I want to see it like capitalized on.
Yeah, you know, when One Championship signed Arjun Bhullar, obviously the intention was to, you know, break into the Indian market. I think they saw a lot of value in him. I don't know that they expected or anticipated Anatoly to potentially, have even bigger upside than Arjun, but I kind of think he does. And this is not a jab at Arjun. I'd say Anatoly, we can all agree, probably has like the more fan-friendly style, fight to fight, more knockouts, just a little more exciting fight to fight. He's got this personality. Obviously, Arjun has that too. But I feel like, Anatoly, I can see him catching on with fans in a way that Arjun has struggled to so far. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm really excited to see how popular Anatoly gets. And I think that fight with Arjun is gonna be huge for both of them. The trash talk before that fight is gonna be amazing. The fight itself will probably be fun no matter what happens. It's kind of a perfect fight for one championship. Really, the stars have really aligned.
Will it happen though, guys? Because Arjan's not been seen for nearly a year now, coming up about 9 months, and he apparently has agreed a new deal. Chatri told me when I interviewed him this week it was, and I just asked Anatoly though if Arjan's gonna play hardball again, are you gonna move on? And he said, "Yeah, I'll go fight Buchecha. He deserves it." What do you think of that?
That's the whole point of an interim title, right? If the champion's not available, whether it's because of an injury or a contract dispute, the interim title keeps the division moving in their stead. So yeah, I fully support that if that's the way things shake out. But obviously, I'd rather see Arjun Bhullar come back and unify these titles.
It's interesting to hear you say that Arjun's not become that big of a star. It's difficult to gauge these things because, you're Canadian, right, Tom? And then, there's the Indian angle as well. I think it's a country of over 1 billion people. It's a growing MMA scene. There's a lot of opportunity for him to grow there. I think he has the talk. He's a fantastic interview. He has it all in his locker. It's just, does he want to be a wrestler? That's the big question. It's been asked by 3 different fighters. I also thought it was funny, another Canadian, Dustin Johnson, who talks about that he's such a nice guy, but he's not afraid to call Arjun Bhullar an arrogant douche, which I think is a great headline for tomorrow for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, man.
Arjun, I get away with that on SCMP, but
I didn't mean to suggest Arjun's not a star or not a great fighter. He's certainly popular in Canada, particularly like Western Canada and British Columbia on the West Coast where he's from, and obviously has the following in India and stuff. But he's just not fighting enough, and when he does, they're not the most spectacular fights. Whereas Anatoly is fighting every few months, knocking everybody out. So just in terms of like recent, relevance, I feel like Anatoly is clearly the more talked about guy at the moment.
Arjun Bhullar couldn't fight because he's stuck in the Canadian trucker convoy, says John.
It's possible.
Did you ask Dustin about the convoy? Who asked him about that? And
that was Dylan Bowker.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
What did he say?
I think so.
He sort of insinuated he doesn't like them, but or he doesn't get into politics.
He's just over it. He said he's over it, basically.
Yeah,
that's how a lot of people feel, I think.
John made a comment previously that I think he said that Arjun had better cardio, but Anatoly's a better boxer. So what's really interesting, I said I was watching with my friend Miguel, and I kept saying I'm really interested to see the cardio from Anatoly because he's barely ever been out of the first round. And Mitch kept mentioning at Tiger they've been doing so much strength and conditioning work with him. And every time I said, I wonder if the cardio, is he going to punch himself out? And every time I said it, he just cracked Kirill on the jaw. Like, it was fully just like, oh. It was one of those fights. I think it was superb, well-deserved on the bonus. But did anyone mention that Kirill is an absolute Belarusian zombie? Like, what is up with his chin? That is insane. I know he got knocked out, but some of those shots were big.
I thought he was playing a dangerous game, though. He was going to get caught eventually.
The dangerous game being launched in the face multiple times.
Yeah, it was too. He had his chin up in the air. He saw it at the end. It was going to catch up with him eventually, and it did.
I thought he kind of looked decent in the first round. Anatoly was missing on almost everything in the opening minute or two of the first round. Just like you said, Andy, throwing these massive hooks that are going to gas you out no matter who you are if you keep throwing them. And in the pre-fight interviews with you, Andy, Kirill talked about how he thought it was going to go 5 rounds, and I thought that was insane when he said that. But then after watching the first half of the first round, just watching Anatoly miss and miss and miss, and Kirill was moving pretty well, I was like, if Anatoly doesn't get him out of here in a round or two, I can actually see this going 5 rounds, at which point it might start to favor Kirill down the stretch, because he was moving really well, and like you said, he's got the great chin. He he didn't look terrible tonight. He just got hit with a nuke. You know, there's not much.
Isn't it refreshing that we spent like 20 minutes talking about the heavyweight division? Like, give us some rankings. We have, you know, where's Rugbrug? We have so many exciting heavyweights, right?
He's still recovering from that shot from Grishenko.
That grievous injury, yeah. The heavyweights, I mean, the excuse originally with the rankings was just that there weren't enough of them, but I don't think that excuse really holds water anymore because, I mean, there's 6 or 7 great fighters off the top of my head in this division. That's enough for a top 5 right there. Sign a few others, and you know, you could make a top 10 even. It's they've really, I mean, you can tell over the last year or two they've really committed to beefing up the heavyweight division. Next up, middleweight. Let's go.
Yeah. Does anyone know where I could get some Siberian tea?
Yeah,
It sounds delicious.
yeah. I asked Anatoly about Arjan saying, because Tom asked Arjan, and Arjan was telling Tom that Anatoly was on drugs. Yeah, all the Russians are dirty. He said that to you, right? In the
he sounds a little bit racist to me.
Yeah,
it wasn't when great. He started talking. He just like wouldn't, like he kept taking it further and further, and I was like, all right, where are you going to draw the line here? Yeah, he was saying all Russians are dirty and accusing him of juicing, and had some comments about Putin and stuff.
Yeah,
my word, it's very Colby Covington-esque.
It was.
Anatoly said the only thing I'm taking is Siberian tea. That was the thing. So I don't know. It does sound good. Yeah.
Seems to be working.
Denial. Not a denial.
Yeah.
We have a comment.
Yeah, we got a bunch. What do you want to talk about next? Because we have.
Well, I think we got to show some love to the comments, but yeah.
Let me get to a few of these. What's this one talking about? Okay, yeah. This is a bit of an elephant in the room. Yeah. Bibiano and Lineker got postponed or whatever, called off because of COVID. What do you think they're going to rearrange this one, guys? You know, I asked Chatri. I think he said it's they're trying to get it booked ASAP, but I don't see. Has Lineker gone? Sorry, has Bibiano gone home? Do you know anything you can say here? How big of a blow was it to lose that fight on the card? I know it was still a good show, but I do feel it took some of the buzz around it. A lot of people were upset when that was called off.
I think the trouble there is with the American audience because it's so important. Look, we're sold. You know, we love Asian MMA. We've been, most of us, living in Asia for a long time, or at least following one for a long time, and we're in. But we got to remember that for this to keep going, we need the casual fans involved. And Lineker versus Bibiano, if I'm sat in Arkansas, I want to watch that fight, right? You know, that's the people you need to get to. The guys sat in Scunthorpe. Those are the guys you need to start tuning in. And for me, Bibiano versus Lineker, maybe it's a bit of hyperbole, but that's one of the most exciting bantamweight fights in the world at the moment. And for some reason, the luck is just shocking. Like with fighters dropping out, I was joking about Brooks Haggerty earlier, but oh my God, it's just shocking. They keep losing all these absolute belters, and Bibby's not getting any younger. They've got to rebook that fight as soon as possible. I think Lineker knew, if you saw the pre-fight, I think he knew, but Complete Professional did the interview anyway. I think maybe that's why.
Well, he was in the hotel room, wasn't he? Noticed he wasn't. He didn't have a background behind him, and I suddenly something set off in my head, thinking, why is he in his hotel room? Oh, is it just because they hate each other so much they're not going to have them in the same part of the hotel?
It was more subdued. It was way more subdued, and I think that's why. But look, we have to book it as soon as possible. It's kind of like the Tonin versus Tan Lee fight. Like, it's just ridiculous. It has to happen. I feel so bad for these guys. Like we talked about Ji-Hin. She had to sit around for a year, you know, like, and then not fight for a year before that. And this is your livelihood. This is the work that these guys put in. It's just so sad. I mean, we talk about our friends who own restaurants and bars and all that stuff. It's just, you know, it's brutal how people have been hit, and we just got to move forward.
But are you a little surprised they didn't have a backup? I thought they should have maybe seen something like this coming and had the Andrade fight.
Andrade, dude, why is Andrade fighting Jeremy? It's an odd one for me. Andrade is another one. I'm such a big believer in. I love spectacle. I used to watch pro wrestling when I was a kid. I love like the martial arts aspect. I like the technical side, but I love spectacle. I like people who can talk the talk, and I like people who can walk the walk. Andrade for me is an absolute star. 3 fights in, he's 4th ranked. Comes in, he's young, he's hungry, he speaks well, he's technical, he can submit people, he's got incredible Muay Thai. they should be pushing him. He should be fighting Stephen Lohman. That's the fight to make. That is 100% the fight to make. I don't know everything behind the scenes. Maybe Stephen's injured, but him fighting Jeremy seems very strange. You know, what if Jeremy wins that? Then what? So he becomes 4, and then you have a potential title contender who falls out of the ranking. It's not easy.
With him on that next card, though, Chatri told you, Nick, a few weeks ago, I think it was you, or maybe it was at a press conference or something, said that they were going to start adding more fights to these cards with the expectation that a couple of them are going to fall through. I would love to see them also have, why not have a second bantamweight fight high up on the bill in case John Lineker can't fight? Why not book this Andrade fight that's happening on the next one for this one that happened today? And then when John Lineker withdrew, you'd have another guy right there who could step up and fight Bibby. I talked to Bibby 3 hours after he learned that John Lineker wasn't fighting. He was pissed off, man. And he was telling me he begged one championship for a fight. He asked for a Muay Thai fight. He asked for a grappling match. He'd come all the way to Singapore from Vancouver. It's like a 17-hour flight. He just wanted to fight, and there was nothing there for him to fight.
There's got to be something wrong with Stephen Lohman. He's got to be injured or something, because if you make Andrade Lohman, which is a fight that I've been pushing for, because do you agree? It's got to make sense, right? It's the perfect number.
It's maybe Quan and Lohman is what they're looking at, right, for the next title shot. That's the only way I can see.
Either or, but put that on the card as well. Tom, you're absolutely right. And then it's an easy one. And then also you have the beef, you have the spectacle, you have the call out while the other person is in the room. Let's do this.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think it was an oversight. Just luckily, the next card, Full Circle, they have got another middleweight fight or two, actually. So if someone falls out of that title fight, I think they can slide in.
So what happens if Abasov pulls out and Big Dash can't fight? Do we get Ongla fighting DeRitter for a third time?
I think they would do it, yeah. I think they'd do it.
Oh, man, what a twist that would be.
Yeah, he's certainly keen for that. I mentioned it to him, but I don't think RDR would be keen. But you know what? He's so confident in himself. I'm sure he'd do it, and he'd be sure he'd win. So
I'm the biggest RDR fan. He's another one that should be a much bigger star. I think you guys must have all asked him this before. He's like, he's a kind of a humble dude. He's like, that stuff's not the most important. It'll come. He should be a megastar. I think he's a match for anyone in the world. He's so difficult to beat. He's proven it. I think Ataidis is the only guy. And Ongla, he didn't finish, right? But he finished Ongla the second time, the first time.
Yeah,
so RDR is a megastar.
I think he's one of the most underrated in all MMA. I'm looking forward to seeing him on the 25th. I think it is, Full Circle, 2 weeks time. Rodtang, though, James is asking us to talk about Rodtang, so let's talk about Haggerty, not Rodtang. He wants to talk about Jonathan Haggerty. Brilliant performance, got the bonus, guys, with a win over Monkolpet. Brilliant show. I don't know. Can you do Rodtang Haggerty 3 though, guys? It's very convincing. I think the second one. That's always the danger.
That was the problem, is that the second one was so decisive. The first one was this war, and the second one wasn't, which kind of just deflates the appeal of the trilogy. But at a certain point, what choice do you have if Haggerty keeps winning? Those fights were so fun, even the one he lost. No one's going to complain if that fight is made.
Well, I think that's it. Sometimes at the end of the day, we have to accept that we just want to see great fights. And if you can sell the idea that Haggerty might win, even if it's a 70-30, if you can just sell that idea, and I'm buying that idea on the strength of tonight, because sometimes on the night, that's the beauty of the sport, right? And what I love about Haggerty, technically he's so good, he's effective, but he's throwing spinning back elbows, he's throwing spinning back fists. He's an entertainer, but he's effective doing it as well. And also, one of these days, look, Rodtang does lose fights. He fights outside one championship. He's not indestructible. And there's only so many times you can walk forward and just take hits. One of these days, he will take a clean shot to the chin, and maybe Jonathan Haggerty's the man to deliver it.
Yeah, he's lost decisions too. It's just as possible that he'll just have a bad night and get outfought by somebody and lose a decision. It could be Haggerty for sure.
And he said he's going to stay ready, and maybe if DJ if Rodtang something happens, he's ready to go and slide in against either one of those guys. So yeah, let's see what happens with Haggerty. What about Bokang and Brooks? Asks
What's
Brian
going on with
Lucera.
Spokane, guys? What's happening?
Yeah, I don't
there?
know. I don't know. I mean, I
See,
asked Chatri, and he said Brooks v Pasio is not the next fight, so it's
Really?
got to be this one,
Have
right?
you tried to interview Bokang?
No,
I asked for him once and I didn't hear back. He's very mysterious.
Pasio
Something
said he's
happened. I
stuck
read
in
an
South
article.
Africa or something.
I think there was some personal issue. There was something. There is a reason we've not heard from him.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but maybe we should find out.
One Championship seems to see something in him too. You know, like it seems like there's a desire to keep him near the top. I don't know if it's just because he's a fresh face for Pasio or something, but I mean, obviously he's a great fighter. But I feel like at this point, I mean, Brooks should be ranked ahead of him. You know, he hasn't fought in a long time. Brooks has looked unstoppable. Like I don't think that Bokang is the #1 contender anymore, personally.
I don't.
Because of the absence.
Inactivity.
Exactly. So, but he is, you know, and we still talk about him a lot. It's a really strange situation. I don't know. I'd love to see him back.
Okay, well, somebody, Liam Neeson, Tom Taylor, find Bokang, find him, and somebody find out what's going on. It's very strange to me that the most exciting division, arguably at the moment, the number one contender is MIA. Where is he?
That is an exciting division, and I spoke to Saruta recently, and he wanted to see a Grand Prix in that division, and I think that's like the perfect idea, because there is some debate about who should get the title shot. You got a couple guys right there. All of the fights in that division are good right now. So many different styles.
If they do it though, I want to see Pasio in the Grand Prix. I want to see him
yeah.
defend his belt in there because he's been waiting a long time. Really, you know, he didn't fight for a year and a half, and then he fought Saruta, and now I don't want to see another year layoff for him.
Sorry, what happened to Gustavo Ballart and Saruta? What happened to that?
Saruta got COVID, I think. Yeah, on his birthday, poor old Gustavo was told the fight's off, and they gave him a little cake, though it wasn't enough to cheer him up. He was so sad.
How funny was the after like Haggerty was like, he's talking bollocks, mate, and then like gave him like 8 kisses after the fight. That was so funny, dude.
Yeah.
I'm definitely guilty of getting super English when I talk to Jonathan Haggerty.
I heard your accent change when you were talking to him. You went all like, "All right, mate, what's up?" You know, from Kent.
Yeah, Nick, you've lived in. How long have you lived in Asia? You know what it's like. Like when you're talking to an Australian, your accent sort of goes up a bit, and then and then
definitely.
when you're talking to a Canadian, you get more polite, and then.
I slip into a little bit more of a different accent when I'm back here than when I'm in Hong Kong or when I'm on one of these live streams. Probably, you know, when you're around your old friends, it is what it is. I just found it entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I get quite. It depends, you know. What I love about this job is at the end of the day, it's just talking to people, and you have to try and find that mutual connection. And some people you just vibe with, and there's the energy there, and then sometimes you got to work bloody hard because you know, some people aren't that giving in their interviews, and you understand why, I guess, in some instances, but in other instances, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to try and give a big interview. The bigger interview you do, the more fans you get, the bigger paychecks you get, the bigger fights you get. So
I feel like Jonathan was giving a few one-word answers or 2 words. I wanted him to open up a bit more and use this to really make a splash. Is that me being harsh or what?
You're always being harsh.
I think
man.
he just got back from hospital and he was in a sling.
He was in a sling, black eye. But you saw, like you and I were talking about it, Andrew. Jared Brooks, just superstar. I think his post-fight interview was even more impressive than his fight. You know, he really, really made a splash and gained a lot of new fans, I think. And that's how you do it.
He understands it.
He knows the game.
He understands the game. I think for me, there's very important elements to the fight game. You know, a lot of fighting is to do with your conditioning. A lot of fighting is to do with your mindset. And a lot of fighting is to do with selling fight. If you don't understand how to sell fight, if you hit like a Mack truck, but you don't have conditioning, you're screwed. If you can hit like a Mack truck and you have conditioning, but you don't know how to sell a fight, are you going to rise to the top? I don't know. Like there's been a lot of great, look at Colby Covington. Apparently, if that's true, they were going to cut him. And, you know, I don't necessarily agree with everything that he's done, but, you know, Dan Lambert is a master of He understands that pro wrestling spectacle angle. And Colby Covington has been in arguably one of the most legendary welterweight title fights of all time.
Mhm.
I'd barely
Well
heard
said.
of Colby Covington when I met him in Singapore like 5 years ago. I'd barely heard of him. This boring wrestler is what I thought. Sorry.
Yeah, he's done a great job. Couple of comments here. Why was Adriano put on ice after beating DJ? Asks Rio. He was very good. Why hasn't one capitalized on it? Might have been something to do. There was an issue with his management, I think.
It's a
Is that it?
lawsuit, yeah.
There's a lawsuit after the DJ fight. He got a bonus, and I think he was negotiating a new contract or something. And then it was all a bit messy, but it's all cleared up now. I don't think one iced him. It's you can't
His
say
manager is the same manager as John Lineker and a lot of the really good Brazilian fighters. He doesn't reply to my emails though, so
Alex Davis, I think,
he's
yeah.
on my blacklist.
Oh,
Alex, reply to my emails. Give me some interviews. Come on.
Okay. And also Rio asking, why doesn't DJ go to strawweight? He'd easily beat Pasio since Pasio doesn't know how to wrestle. I just think he's so old he doesn't want to cut weight anymore. You know, he's 34, 35. You know what I mean?
I'm 34. That's just a savage comment.
I'm 34 as well, but in the fight game, that's a long time. And it sucks Cejudo doesn't want to fight flyweight anymore or even bantamweight. He wants to fight featherweight.
Did you see that video? Did he? Go ahead,
I think
Tom.
DJ could easily make strawweight. I don't buy the not wanting to cut weight. I don't think he'd have to cut that much weight.
He's fighting at bantamweight right now, essentially. I mean, that's what we forget, right?
Exactly. I mean, he'd just be doing exactly what he was doing in the UFC, really.
I just don't think he's motivated to do that. You know, he makes enough money from one.
But if it's affecting his results, though, you know, if he's going to lose fights because of it, fighting bigger guys.
But I don't think he's going to lose sleep if he never wins the title in one. I think he's just there to make a lot of money, do some big fights like this Rodtang one.
Mm-hmm. Right off into the sunset.
I think he's got equity in the company. I think, and he's got one of those fat, juicy 10-fight contracts with a down payment guarantee every year. They get a salary every month. It's doing okay. I just, do you want to really spend your time like worrying about that? You know, when you could be enjoying your time, the limited time you have with your kids. I don't know.
Can I say one thing? I don't know if you covered it earlier on the pod. Such a great interviewer, seemingly such a good person. Nguyen saying that she
let's get into it.
One thing that really struck me, I know that she's never been very tall. She looked tiny tonight against Lin He Chin. And again, I was sat with my friend Miguel, and he was saying,
"Who's this Miguel? Why are you with Miguel? Who is Miguel?
Get him on the podcast."
Because it's more fun to watch fights.
That's
with
Miguel over here. Is it my main man Miguel from One?
No, you're right. It's nice to watch fights with a mate. You know, it's a lonely game sometimes. The MMA industry at 2 in the morning, Nick. I think we can all relate. But he was just like, I'm not going to do his accent because he'll get offended. But he was saying that she needs to move down a weight class. I said, that's not possible. It doesn't get.
Well,
you know.
Yeah, Tom and I were messaging about it, and I said same. They need to create some kind of minimum weight thing if they want to.
Super atom weight.
The unfortunate thing, though, for her is that because of One's weight cutting rules, like there is an atomweight division in Invicta, for example, that's actually 105 pounds. Like, but of course, in One championship it's 115, so she's fighting much bigger girls, right? So it's like if she was fighting in the States, she could probably fight women closer to her size, like in another organization. But obviously, in One championship, she's already in the lightest division. There's nowhere for her to go. It's unfortunate.
Do you think they might make a minimum weight for One, which I guess would be atom weight normally elsewhere?
Yeah, but who else would go there other than her?
Yeah,
dude, if they made a super atom weight division, I actually think they have their atom weight division stacked. I think they could definitely, because if they want to have a selling point that's unique to other organizations, for example, they celebrate smaller weight classes, strawweight, flyweight. You know, I know the flyweight division's been revitalized in the UFC, but if they want to do that, I mean, Ryzen, I think, does super atom weight. I think they could actually make a really good go of it, and I think people would really enjoy it, and I think a lot of people would thrive, and it's something maybe to be considered.
Yeah.
No. On the 100K bonus note from Tan Nguyen's comment, we were saying I admire as a married man the relationship between Anatoly and his wife. I thought it was really sweet what he said.
Mhm.
But spending 100K on a Porsche, what does he say? A Porsche what? A Porsche? I don't know shit about cars, but surely invest it, dude. Like, it's the worst way to spend 100K is on a Porsche. Like,
I'm sure his wife was listening to that, be like, no.
Yeah.
dude, like put it in. I don't know. I am terrible at investing in stocks and crypto, but like, dude, spending it on a car, like, buy a house, invest it in something, man. I don't know.
Buy a house in Thailand. Yeah.
Ask Ben Askren. He seems to know about these things, right? Or Eddie Alvarez.
I'm sure he's
That will go far
in.
in Thailand. That kind of money, definitely.
He could live like a king in Thailand for.
I think he already has a farm though, right? In Thailand, because that's where he came up with his chicken video. Yeah, he was chasing his chickens around.
Well, Arjun Bhullar.
Yeah, the chicken was called Arjan, right? You saw the video.
Yeah.
That's what started this whole thing.
He's my baby.
Yeah, I think he's already got property there. But
dude, can we get some budget from SCMP and do a? Dude, so the best smoothie. I went for a smoothie after our Muay Thai session. So my favorite gyms right now, Ratachai, Tiger. I don't go there yet because I mean it's too many scary Russians and whatever.
You're in Thailand right now.
Yeah, I'm in Phuket, and so we're gonna do one more session tomorrow. I think at Ratachai gym, which is the one where Dana White like saved that little girl. He paid for operation. It's like a really big story. Like, you know, so Dana's not all evil, as some people would say. But so the AKA Thailand smoothie, they have like Mike Swick's favorite smoothie. It's delicious. But the best smoothie so far, hands down, is Tiger Muay Thai. So we went for a smoothie, and Hamzat Himayev walks by, and I'm like sweating after doing Muay Thai, and I'm like, oh, I really want to ask him for an interview, but I also don't want to approach him and be like, hi, my name's Andy. I've been covering Asian MMA for 13 years. Can I interview you? Like, I could just be a complete random. It's such a weird way to approach it. So
just
like,
accosted by this sweaty stranger.
Yeah, like super sweaty dude with the most delicious smoothie you've ever seen. Like, seriously, like you can choose like your base, like coconut water, coconut milk, all sorts of different milks, and protein flavors, fruit flavors, and then you can add all sorts of crazy like creatine, DCA stuffs, and it tastes like a dream. I mean, even if I drink 100 of them, I think I'm still not gonna live up to the Hamzat Himayev aura.
Give him a smoothie, and then he'll speak to you.
Yeah, that could be extend the olive branch, the smoothie branch.
Exactly.
All right, there's a bunch of other stuff, so I'll try and get through it as quickly as possible. One thing I want to talk about: why was Olivier Coste refereeing every single fight? It was bizarre.
Fight bonus.
Yeah, he should have got a bonus because I think he did every fight, and I think it's a little
have gotten COVID or something.
Yeah, maybe. So I don't want to be too harsh on one, but it's a little bit unfair on Olivier because he might then slip up in a fight, and then a bunch of people might criticize him.
Wait, was the Yodka, was the Y2K an early stoppage? I thought it was a bit early.
I thought it was a little bit early, yeah, but I didn't want to bag on Olivier too much because he just done that was his.
He had a long night, man. It's the same way that if you were driving all night, you'd become a much more dangerous driver as the night wore on. You know, like just the longer you're staring at the road, the less.
No, but that was early. That was early in the night. Look, I'd rather a referee stopped it early than stopped it late. But if you're Yodkakai, you're going home a bit pissed off.
He wasn't defending himself, but he was reaching for a leg. But he kept getting hit while he was getting for the leg. So I see why Olivier.
I mean, if that was Eddie Alvarez, there's no way you're stopping that. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Yeah. And he got a bonus, didn't he, our man? So well done to him. Bonuses were also to Haggerty and Anatoly. I just thought it was unfair on Olivier. Opens him up to criticism from people like us. You know, we go, oh, he did a late finish. He can't referee properly.
Dude, he's going to go to the gym. He's going to like bench press like 150 kilos, and then he's going to be fine.
He's all right. I hope they slipped him some money. Yeah, he deserves it.
I'm sure he was taken care of.
Yeah, but another thing I thought was a little iffy was the no contest for TL Tang. Was it a DQ or what? The nut shots. Okay, TL hit two early first round groin shots. The second one looked like a legal knee to me, but the fight was called off. TL Tang was crying, swearing.
Should he have been deducted a point for his hairstyle? I'm not sure.
I feel like he's.
I missed it.
Harsh.
He's had
Too hard.
a hair transplant, has he? Or what? The hair was flowing this time.
I'll tell you what,
last time flowing.
Rob Holding's hair transplant is the
Yeah.
same thing.
I mean, fair play to him, but do you think that was a bad decision to do that to TL? He was so emotional. I think it really means a lot to him. You know, he trained so
You can't
hard.
base decisions on how much it means to people.
No, but
Yeah, I
I
get what you mean. It's a bit
he,
harsh.
you have to take the human element in sometimes. These guys have come all the way to Singapore, right? From Florida, he trains in, and the fight's over in a minute, and he loses his win bonus, things like that, because of a bad decision. I do take the human element in, Andrew. I'm gonna be that guy.
I do too. No, of course I do. But I'm just
You
saying,
just
like,
hate all
similarly,
humans, don't you? You think the fighters are a commodity for you to just enjoy.
I take really offense to that, Nick. You know I'm an overly sensitive guy. That's not
Well, you're a
fair.
fighter yourself now, living the lifestyle. So you maybe
Drinking
you
smoothies with
stop
Hamza.
Yeah.
I've literally never weighed so much as I weigh now. I think it might be the pad thai and the singer. Okay, so singer, Leo, or Chang? What are we saying? What's
Singer for me, man.
Singer.
Yeah,
Singer guy. I was Leo, now I'm singer.
I like Singer. I'm a big fan of Tiger when I'm in Vietnam. Does Tiger very well for some reason, even though I think is it an Indian beer or a Singapore beer?
It's actually
Singaporean,
Singapore
I think.
group.
Yeah.
I like Tiger too, but it's available like everywhere. You can get it in Canada.
Wait,
so
should we have a drink together before we call it a night, or what time is it there?
I'd have to go downstairs to get one.
It's noon here, and I have no booze in the house, so I'm out of luck. But
Yeah, well, I've been working hard. I'm
encourage you
gonna get a gin and tonic. I'll see you in 2 minutes.
You do that.
Do it.
Don't worry. Get yourself a G&T. We will discuss the next thing. John KL, is backing me up here. Says all the replay angles show it was legal knee, but the scream was very loud. You know, and I'm always a little bit cautious, Tom, when you see the groin shot and then the guy goes down and screams. It always seems to me like they're over exaggerating, like football players. You know. Like if you watch soccer, some of these players will get clipped a little bit and then they'll roll around 5 times. You go, it looked to me like that. It was exaggerating.
It's one of those things. You know, well, I mean, I think you're being a little bit harsh, but I totally get you. You know, it's one of those things where we've seen over the course of the time we spent watching this sport, so many horrible groin shots, like just the worst ones you can imagine. We've seen them, and these guys often don't make a sound when they hit the deck. You know, the ones that land cleanly. A nice knee right to the junk, and they'll just go down and they're writhing in pain, but they're not usually screaming, right? So I feel like the scream is kind of like an uncharacteristic reaction to that kind of injury. I'm with you. It's suspicious if you scream for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's that one. What other topics could we get into here? There's a lot of drama.
We didn't really talk about. Well, we did talk about B actually.
Yeah, a little bit about B. So. I don't know.
We can talk about her retirement. Yeah.
Yeah. Is she going to retire? What did she say? I don't know how much more I can do this. When she came backstage.
I was going to take the immediate reactions with a grain of salt. You know, she's obviously dejected. Had a tough fight. You know, she had her moments. I think she probably feels like she was, you know, right there again. It's got to be really discouraging, and I think that probably factored into, you know, what she said.
But I think she's a little bit heartbroken, I guess, because what's that now? Since she beat Ritu, she's now dropped 3 fights, I think.
I think just 2.
Yeah, so she never seems to be able to get momentum going, and I think if she wants to continue, she needs to go to another promotion. One's not going to give her smaller.
Yeah, I don't know what
she's not big enough for the division. I think if one can make a division, Tom, like for her, she'd be a good face for it because she, like you say, she's good with the media. She's obviously, you know, a lot of people tune in because she's fun to watch, fun to fight. She's very good looking, obviously. She talks well. I think, she's got all the package you want from her fights.
Yeah, she's the full package. She is, and all her fights are fun. And you know, I have some kind of questions about the depth of that potential division. I don't know how many atomweights would actually drop down to that new division. Obviously, Ham probably would. B, obviously, you know, there's 3 or 4 that seem like they definitely would, but that's not enough for a division. On the other hand, one championship has shown that they have like no reservations at all about creating new divisions. They have, the full spectrum of Muay Thai, kickboxing, and MMA divisions now. They clearly have no problems adding new divisions. So why the hell not? It gives you another belt to play with, to headline cards with. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Is B an Invicta level fighter, says Rain.
B once expressed interest in going to Invicta to me, just kind of in passing, not serious interest about leaving one or anything, but she kind of, I think it was after one of her tougher losses several years ago, when she was probably feeling a little discouraged just with the state of her career, and talked about how, in Invicta, there's a division there for her. Like, she'd actually be able to fight at 105 pounds there, and she wouldn't have to fly across the world for every fight. So you do understand why that probably looks appealing to her when she's losing these fights on the other side of the world to women that outweigh her by probably 15 pounds on the night.
Yeah. You got your GNT, Andrew?
Hello, guys.
Okay.
Oh, it's Miguel.
I brought Miguel in.
Miguel.
I just wanted to try and justify his thoughts behind Jihin's victory.
Go on, Miguel.
Yeah, for me, like the overall fight, it was very clear from the beginning. Like the May was much shorter, so lower center of gravity, stronger physically, but shorter. So for sure she's gonna go also jiu-jitsu black belt. So for sure she's gonna go in a takedown. The first round it was perfect for the Jihen because she kept the distance. She was kick on the legs. She did a lot of points. The second round, even with the takedown of May, I think that she managed to defend the position very well and come up in the fight. And the last round, she did a lot of points. She threw small jabs, a small punch to the body, small kicks until the takedown. So at the end, if you go for points, for me, it was the Malaysian.
Oh, wow. Miguel.
That's the best breakdown of the fight we've had so far tonight.
There you go.
Yeah. Miguel,
I know that I'm not professional for any means, but I think that she played very smart. And she even managed to escape the grabs from a person that is much more experienced in BJJ, So it makes sense. And on top, like in the last round, she actually put an effort to try to score some points. So she knew that probably you're gonna go to points, and she was smart enough in the last round to try to get points on her side.
I like that breakdown. Yeah, well said. What, Miguel, are you out there with Andrew training at Tiger?
Yeah, I was AKA.
AKA.
And I have a chance tomorrow.
Oh, how long is this trip going to last, guys?
Actually, last time I came for 15 days, and I did like a full intense 15 days in AKA with 2 trainings a day. But this time it's just for 4 days.
You live in Malaysia as well?
No, I used to live in Malaysia for 10 years. Now I live in Ho Chi Minh.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Beautiful city.
Yeah, very beautiful city. Actually.
Amazing city.
Love it. Yeah.
Anyway, I leave you guys.
Yeah, great breakdown.
Thank
you for your insights.
Miguel, we're going to have to get you back on the show next week, I think.
I thought it was important to clarify.
Oh, great.
So he is real.
He is real. You weren't just making up that you had a friend. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's a myth that MMA media have friends, actually. We don't.
I know. I don't have any. Just you guys.
Just us, yeah.
It's a lonely life, man.
Another thing I wanted to mention was my former colleague, Steve Dawson. What a consummate professional. I don't know where Mike Chiavello was tonight, who's the main man. But I thought that Stephen Dawson, he's old school. He's OG. He's been there since day one. And
it's quite nostalgic hearing his voice.
I love him. Yeah, he's great.
He's a boxing guy. I think he wrote a book about Marvin Hagler, potentially. And I thought he's just such a pro, man. He's just so clean. Like, as I don't know about you guys, but I always look for these things and notice these things. And it's always nice to like have people to look up to who really like just nail what they do. And like, I know that he initially wasn't an MMA guy, but you put that guy on any sport, on any desk, and he'll just deliver like clean, professional performance.
Well, to be able to step in, if you don't do it regularly and do what he did, it went off without a hitch. So, fair play to Steve. I thought he was great. I wouldn't mind if they bring him back in more regularly. I think because he's done some desk work, hasn't he? With one, I think
he's great.
he commentated for a good 7 years.
Yeah,
he started. He was their first guy, was he not?
Yeah, he did a lot of. I think he was still doing stuff when the pandemic started. He was with Rich, kind of not on the commentary side, but they were introducing things. I'd love to see him back. I think Michael had COVID, but he's fine. I think that was it.
Yeah, he said on
What's
Facebook.
going on with all the COVID over there? Seriously,
It's just because it's more transmissible. This thing, Omicron, so it's easier to catch. Hong Kong is in disarray. That's why I'm not there. I can't get back. Don't think I want to go back right now.
I really want to get into jiu-jitsu this year, but like that's how you catch COVID, basically.
Oh yeah, 100%. But anyway, we're straying far into Leon territory. We're in a.
Wow, we haven't gotten that far yet.
Wow, yeah.
Where is Leon? I miss Leon on the companion.
Finding the truth, man.
Keeps wanting me to fight different journalists, and I'm like, guys, I'm friends with all these guys. It's not going to happen because I'm getting older, man, and I have to have a fight one day. I should probably get good at fighting before I fight someone. So
you and John. I think John's training to.
I politely offered him for a fight, really politely, and he politely declined. He said he already has a fight, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think he's going to document the whole thing for the All-Star. He's going to do a camp in Phuket at Bang Tao, the new one.
Nice. Hickman's.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I kind of wanted to do something similar, but I need to find the right opponent. It's got to be somebody who's like same weight, same experience. John's a purple belt though, so I don't know anything about jiu-jitsu.
He's done tournaments in the past. He was telling us, and one time he tried to cut weight, but it just went really badly wrong. But anyway,
I just enjoy burgers too much and lack self-discipline, but I do enjoy smashing pads. It's one of the. You can throw hands, Mr. Taylor. You've got lovely hands.
Tom's always disappearing to go hit the heavy bag.
I'm impressed by what I'm seeing, Tom. You should post more. You look great.
Yeah, I don't really post anything on social media anymore, but I love boxing. I love Muay Thai. I've been doing both for years now, man. It's I suck at jiu-jitsu though. I don't have the brain for jiu-jitsu. Like every time I'm rolling with somebody, I used to be the manager at an MMA gym, so I would just jump onto the mats sometimes from the desk if it wasn't busy. And I just don't, my brain doesn't work that way, man. These guys are like 6-7 steps ahead of me at all times. I'm reacting to whatever's happening at the moment. They've already thought like 6 steps ahead of you, and suddenly there's an arm around my neck and my ears are ringing and the lights are starting to flash. Have you ever been choked out, Andy?
Do you know what? I've got a good answer to that. Once by Misha Tate.
That is a really good answer. It's a weird feeling, man.
Andrew, did you ghost John backstage?
I know a bunch of Johns, so I apologize that I didn't say hi. I'm a pretty friendly guy, unless I'm hungover, then I don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah. I saw you one time, the last time in the KL show. I think it was July 2019 when Angela lost to Nicolini. You and James Goyder were there, and then you just left without coming for a few drinks with the boys. That's bad behavior.
That doesn't sound like me at all. But it's a busy life when you're married with kids and you've got MMA and football jobs. It's a juggle. It's a juggle.
Well, Leon and I held up our end of the bargain, I think.
Never again. Next time, I'm 100%. I will have drinks with you guys, and the first round is on me. Gin and tonic.
Seconds on me.
That was the ridiculous after party we went to in that one in Malaysia when Leon blacked out. I've never seen him.
Oh my goodness, Leon and Jen, when he's drunk.
I thought he might be dead because I was texting him he didn't respond until about 5 p.m. the next day. Yeah, he went crazy. Man. And all the ring girls were loving him. Like we were in the VIP bit of the club with some of the fighters from the card were there. Dom was there, Olivier Coste, and one of the judges. I can't remember his name. It was such a fun night.
He's been another name that John brings up, like, oh, fight Leon. I'm like, I'm not going to fight Leon. Like he's not got any sustenance.
I think Leon's he's got more about him than you realize. I think
Leon would be scrappy. But I'd prefer to fight
that
someone
vegan
who
power.
I either don't work for or I'm not friends with. Yeah, he keeps trying to make me fight James Goyder, but like I write for him and I get on well with him, and he's also won like 10 Muay Thai fights.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hasn't he fought in stadiums and stuff?
I need to fight somebody who with no experience, who also enjoys burgers and beer.
I'd like to take an amateur boxing match or something, but I'm not gonna do it against somebody who's gonna knock me out. Like I'm not interested in like sustaining any serious damage at this age.
All right.
John KL, to address your comment, thank you for listening to us talk nonsense, and thank you for your comment. And I'm a friendly guy. I would usually say hi to people. Hi.
Yeah, I'm hopefully
the long-awaited hi.
I'm going to try and get to Singapore for 1X. So if I do, I'm going to try and meet up with John KL. So
dude, we have a dream team. There's not many people who love Asian MMA. I feel very honored to get to do what we do, and to work with cool people. There's also a lot of weirdos in in MMA media. I've been to Vegas a few times. There's some odd characters, I have to say.
Man, yeah. Oh yeah. Real weirdos, man.
But the good ones are great.
Well, what else on this card? Because we're being scolded here by conference chicanery, saying we ain't here for the drinking social recap.
Why don't you take off then?
But if you were a fan of the show Conference, you would have realized we often do involve those elements, so it's part of our thing. But we'll talk about the fights again.
The only reason we're able to continue covering MMA.
We just had in-depth analysis from Miguel that you will hear all night. So.
That's true. That's very
but
true.
He does agree, or Conference Chicanery agrees. Yeah, plenty of weirdos in Vegas, so we can agree on that.
Very well said, man.
But
what was your fight of the night? Conference Chicanery. Let's interview this guy or girl.
Conference Chicanery. Let us know your fight of the night. Otherwise, what other topics, guys, were from that show? I think we've covered most of the drama.
Kirill. What's next for Kirill?
I don't know.
I thought I might be the only person on earth that thought this, but I thought he looked kind of good tonight. I liked how he was moving in the first round. He's so long for the heavyweight division. I don't know. I think if he can, obviously he needs to shore up the takedown defense, but I think if he can do that, there's a future for him. Maybe not a title win, but certainly I can see him picking up some nice wins in this division. I don't know who he'd fight next though. The Rug rematch, maybe. That was
I think he looked good, only in the sense that just how good Anatoly is. Just how good Anatoly is. It's like saying somebody who lasted 2 rounds with Francis looked good. He didn't look. I mean, you're being a bit too nice. He didn't look good.
Canadian man.
He looked like he has a chin and a half on him, and he was moving pretty well. But dude, I think he would beat most heavyweights in the division, but the guy got knocked out big time. I mean, it's hard to say that he looked good,
Yeah. But I just think there were flashes of potential. Like clearly he has the ability. Tough fight tonight, but I think he can still accomplish some pretty solid things in one. I would say.
Okay, I can't help but feel that Conference Chicanery only started tuning in when we started talking about friendship and booze, because we spent half an hour at least talking about the heavyweight bout.
Yeah, I think we covered the heavyweights, but I think
we covered every fight pretty extensively.
Yeah, I had a look at the card, and I think we've covered all the ones that need covering. But if anyone has any questions, please throw them in. I guess we can do another 15 minutes if these guys are fine with that.
Can we talk about?
But what's this about Olivier Coste being the worst ref in one since he was trained by Matt?
That's a Jack Slack thing. You guys know Jack Slack, right?
I think James is a fan of Jack Slack, and James is putting this out there. So Coste, has he missed things? I think this is in reference to the suplex, is it, by Angela on Panda? But then again, Christian got pulled up for a suplex on Jay, was it, or someone? No. It was what's his face? You know who I'm talking about from Team Mackay. Yeah,
Filipino guy. Yeah.
Edward Kelly, is it?
Right.
Is that right? I don't know. But anyway, I don't know. Is it unfair? Is Olivier Coste the worst ref in one, guys?
No.
I mean, He did
No.
just do 10.
He's the only ref in one tonight.
The only ref in one.
I don't know. Look at the top MMA referees in the world. You could do an hour-long podcast bagging on their worst nights. Has Olivia Cost made mistakes before? Yes. Has he had great nights before? Yes. I've got no major issue with him. Do I think there's sometimes in the past been an element of favoritism towards the Lees? They're some of the biggest stars in the promotion. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and obviously refs have an incredibly important job. They're the last line of defense for these fighters sometimes, but they're still just people. They're going to make errors. Like to operate under the assumption that refs can never make mistakes is, it'd be great if that was the case, but that's a foolish thing to believe. They're going to make errors sometimes. There's going to be early stoppages, late stoppages. You just have to hope that nobody gets hurt. It's just going to happen sometimes.
Can we talk briefly? And sorry if you've already covered it, but about Odie Delaney, because I wasn't overly familiar with him. He's kind of a prospect. He's 2-0. I just found it funny how the first thing he said in his post-fight was, I'm just here to represent my God. And I respect all religions 100%, but it's just, we did smile at that because it's like,
well, he's got a crazy story
on this podcast.
No, I've been reprimanded recently about it.
I won't swear. But basically, I just thought how it was funny. My takeaway was, I'm here to represent my God by kicking the F out of people.
Yeah,
that's God's work, man.
God's a fight fan.
Just think, because it shows the replay and he's talking about how he's super religious, and then he's trying to tear someone's arm off, and I'm like, that's what Jesus wanted you to do. It
was a good finish, though.
It was a hell of a finish.
Yeah. But, I could feel the pain just watching it from the last. Is it the last Viking? The first Viking? Thomas Namo?
Yeah, I think another Goida tweet was Thomas Namo looks excellent in Viking photo shoots, but not so good inside.
Yeah. I'm surprised they brought him back because he was the one who had the groin fight with Alan Nalani. And then he went and fought in another promotion, I think. So I think it was a one-fight deal, and then he came back, and then the fight fell through. I think he was going to be sacrificed to Buchecha at first, and that fell through. And then Buchecha fought.
Question for you: What would be your Fight Circus One Championship card? So, let's not do a long one. Just 3 fights, the silliest matchups that you could make in one, but just pure entertainment.
That's tough, man.
DJ versus Alan Angelani would be a good one.
What?
Yeah.
So we just anything.
Or 2 DJs.
I think RDR against DJ and Rodtang, because he called them out at the same time.
Okay, that's the spirit, Nick.
Yeah.
That's the spirit.
Exactly. Let's get silly here. Some people defending Coast though, guys. Yeah. So not terrible.
Or after Arjun's slightly racist comments about Russians, Arjun Bhullar against 2 Russian bantamweights would be pretty funny.
Yeah, or 3 even. Why not?
Hey, if we can just get Arjun to fight anyone, that's good. Because
RDR versus a tag team of Lees, because he wants to fight everybody. Yeah, all 3 Lees against whoever would be.
Is there another trio of siblings? No, surely not. Maybe 2 middleweight siblings or something. You get the Lee family against another family.
Dude, I would love to see a sibling fight. I interviewed Herbert Burns not so long ago, and he said that him and Gilbert could beat Nick and Nate Diaz. And at first glance, you're that sounds a bit fanciful, but then you think about it. Well, Nick's, not in the best shape. He's getting older. Nate hasn't won many fights recently. Gilbert Burns is legit as they come. He's top 5 guy.
I feel like Gilbert would beat both of them on his own, honestly.
I think it'd be fun, dude. Herbert Burns needs to win a few more fights. Talented fighter, very talented fighter.
Well,
yes, he is.
We split debate here with our comments about the ref. So about Olivier, some people like him, some people don't.
I respect his discipline. He's always in the damn gym with Dominic Lau getting jacked, and I'm jealous.
Any other questions, please let us know. I think we'll do about 10 more minutes.
Also, for the comment saying we don't talk enough about the fights, let's just acknowledge that Nick Atkin is the hardest working man in show business. The guy stays up till 2 in the morning talking about
always working.
So,
it's fine.
show
In
some love
England,
to
it's
the main man of Asian MMA here, okay, please.
hey, it's 5:37 p.m. It's all right. I'm not staying up too late at the moment.
But you used to, man.
Yeah, it is tough at the moment because I'm doing a lot of Olympics work. That's why, if anyone missed it, we didn't do a fight companion because of the Olympics. I'm running all this stuff on SCMP live blog, and so it's been tough today. But hopefully, we'll have a fight companion for the next show, Full Circle. We'll see.
Mate, it's been so fun. I missed you guys, and it's always great to have you on the calls to be able to welcome friends in that scenario. Very lucky to do what we do. I'm going to say goodnight, I think. This has been super
Sweet
fun.
dreams, man.
Go have another G&T, and we'll wrap this one up. Yeah. All right.
Yes, sir. Good chat, Andy.
I'll
Thanks,
catch
dude.
up with you soon. Yeah.
Thanks
all right.
for being nice.
Thanks, sir. See you soon. All right. Then there were two. Okay. We'll a couple more.
Shout out to Galactus for the unrelenting support, man. This guy is in our corner. Respect.
Galactus is leaving comments on videos even outside of the live streams. You know, I wake up and I love it. Yeah, everyone who supports the channel, appreciate it.
Of course, Alvin, I saw he was back.
Yeah, Alvin
back for another Spirit Award.
Yeah, thank you, Galactus. I hope it's not boring. You know, some people don't like to hear it, but you want to humanize these things a little bit. Just give a glimpse into the boring lives we lead, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's not all sitting in front of a laptop screen. Every now and then you get to go out and do fun things, you know, and with interesting people.
But Tom and I are hatching plans to maybe go to Singapore for 1X because it's been a while since we've seen a one championship show live. I mean, you've been to PFL, I think, Tom, a couple times since the pandemic. So I've not been to anything. I'm hoping to go down to Singapore.
Yeah.
And before I insert my, it's before I go back to Hong Kong and lock myself down there for what could be a long time because everything's going bad there, I would just like to see one event, So fingers crossed.
Yeah. This 1X card would be the one to go to. If they're, if that card even stays close to how it is now, it doesn't lose too many fights. It's going to be incredible.
I think they announced a new one during this card, right? For Capitan. Is that correct?
Yeah. And then WMMA scene now has just dropped that on Abima. They said Itsuki is going to be fighting on 1X as well. I assume on the undercard.
Okay. Wow. That's good. Plenty of people out there for her to fight. Yeah.
Nice scoop there, WMMA scene now.
Well, you got to imagine she's going to be on the BEMA pay-per-view because I think it's going to be a BEMA, right? This Asia-focused pay-per-view. We talked about it before, Chris and I think. They say the second card or one of the cards is going to be pay-per-view in Asia. So I think it's going to be on a BEMA in Japan. I think they're going to load it up. Yeah, that makes sense to have Itsuki on there. She's very popular in Japan. All right. Here we go. Any other questions, let us know. We've got about... hang around till... Let's do 5 more minutes or so. I need to eat.
Yeah.
I need to make some breakfast.
Who would you like to see Itsuki fight on this 1X card while we're on the topic?
That's it. You've got a bunch of people who, I think
she's riding a win.
Yeah, give her one of the losers maybe from the Grand Prix or
Ritu or something maybe.
Ritu, Julie Mizababa.
Or even Jihin. Yeah, someone was saying that earlier.
Jihin. Right. You've got Jenilyn Olsim's out there. Lynn.
Lots of options.
Yeah, lots of options, yeah. Nikki Hungy, that's it, Dylan. Where are you, Dylan?
Sex God.
Sex God is here.
Sexy, yeah.
Yeah. I heard him on the post-fight interviews asking sexy questions.
Speaking of sexy, check that out. There's a rumor of Akiyama being on 1X.
Oh, yeah. Again, I think that makes sense. It's probably going to load up that second card with Japanese fighters, so Shinya is going to be on it, I think.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll do Shinya and Aoki, or Shinya and Sexyama finally. That would be pretty
They could do Shinya v Eddie trilogy.
Yeah.
Shinya v Sage, finally, again, they were trying to book that for some reason. Yeah. All right. And Gary Tonin News asks John, his title shot's still on. Yeah, they're doing that in March 11th, I think. Gary Tonin and Tan Lei.
I don't know if that's been announced yet.
It has. Yeah.
It has?
Lights out.
Oh, I didn't know they officially dropped that yet.
Yeah. Let me look. It's on the website. So, do you know who's? I'm just getting messaged by someone else. Yeah, it's definitely on the website. So, Tan Lei, Gary Tonin, March 11th. That's the one before 1X. So, it'll be there.
These next few cards are so good.
Yeah, definitely. And if they can rearrange Bibby and John Lineker for one of those next two.
Here's one we can address, Nick.
Yeah, go for it.
Christian Lee and Ukraine. I can't remember if we published that, the one I wrote about that yesterday.
I put the video up. I haven't published your second article, but I will.
Right, yeah. I just spoke to Christian day before yesterday, and he says he's like verbally agreed to the rematch with Ukraine. Apparently, Oak's side is into. They're just waiting for like a date and a location, which seemed weird to me. It seems like it's obviously going to be in Singapore, but I guess maybe it's possible to be somewhere else. But yeah, just waiting on like the final details. But he's ready. He's training every day. He's good to go. It's just a question of the date, and I assume Ukraine's ready as well. So hopefully soon. I could see that landing on 1X, honestly.
Yeah, I think the issue was the orbital injury for Oak, right, which might be holding up. So.
Right. Yeah. True.
Because he was 6 months. I think he was the timeline, and the fight was in September.
It's been like 4.5 now. Yeah, so he probably needs a little bit more time.
Yep.
That should be soon, though. Hopefully.
They're definitely going to load up that Tan Lei and Tonin card, says Dark Sid. It feels like they're teeing things up for 1X. Yeah. All the cards now are loaded.
Yeah, these next three cards are good enough
that
even if they lose a couple, they'll still be good, though. You know, it's... Yeah. It's hard luck. They keep losing main events. That's the thing. It's the third time in a row, or they've lost. If we just lost a couple undercard fights, it'd be a lot easier to swallow. But yeah, losing fights like BB and John Lineker, that's rough.
Yeah, because the one before that, they lost the main event twice, didn't they? The interim fight we had tonight, that was meant to be on there, and then
I mean, that one took like 3 weeks or three attempts to make happen. I think, you know, it's hard to book fights for one championship right now. Clearly, it takes often like multiple attempts. I think that's just par for the course these days.
Yeah. Well, why don't we wrap things up there? Because I'm getting messaged by someone from SCMP about Olympics, so I'm gonna have to deal with that. But yeah, it's been a good one, guys. Thank you for all your questions and comments. I appreciate the enthusiasm and everything. And apologies again, there was no fight companion. But, you know, I've been thinking for a while to kind of change tack and do these reaction podcasts instead of the companion. What do you people think? You know, let us know if you like this kind of thing more. Instead of doing one long 5-hour thing during the show. What do you think, Tom? I don't know. It's a bit easier this way.
I'm easy, man. This is definitely easier, and, you know, especially if we're trying to cover the event, you know, having to jump off the calls. But I think probably people enjoy the fight companion as well, too. See what the people say, man. Listen to the people.
Listen to the people. I'm a man of the people, so
that's what I always say about you.
We definitely won't be able to do a companion if we're in Singapore for this 1X card. So I'll have to see if my man Chris can hold it down there. But as James says, we need more of Alvin.
Always. You never have enough Alvin.
Yeah. But that's it. We're going to wrap it up. Yeah. So leave a comment on the video afterwards if you want to about what you prefer. Otherwise, yeah, we'll think about it. But anyway, it's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed Bad Blood and the post-fight podcast. We'll see you in a couple of weeks for Full Circle, February 25th. 3 title fights, Ongla and Big Dash Trilogy. I'm sure I'll be doing a podcast next week. Actually, no, it's still the Olympics, so maybe not. So I'll just save it for then. It's always fun when Ongla's fighting. There's 100,000 people from Myanmar logging on to the the show. So it's always a fun one. Anyway, we'll see you again next time.